With the General Assembly drawing to a close this coming weekend, we wanted to give you a quick update on where our issues ended up for the year. The VSCPA actively supported 3 issues over the 2017 session. The first was tax conformity, which is an annual issue for us. This year's bill was fairly straightforward, only having to conform with the treatment of Olympic medals. It passed early and was signed by the governor on February 3rd. The second issue for us this year dealt with a tax amnesty program. Virginia has had several successful tax amnesty programs in the past, and we felt that it was important for us to step up and express our support for a program that we think is good for taxpayers as well as the Commonwealth. So the tax amnesty program did pass and will take place sometime during the Commonwealth's 2017-2018 fiscal year. So the last issue that we actively supported this year was legislation for the Virginia Board of Accountancy. This bill simply made technical updates to the accounting statutes to make sure that we stay in alignment with national standards. This bill, along with the tax amnesty legislation, has passed both houses unanimously and is awaiting the governor's signature. Another issue that we followed closely was human resources related legislation. This did everything from establishing mandatory leave programs to working with discrimination issues. We've seen an uptick in this type of legislation, not just here in Virginia, but across the country over the past several years. And while we certainly expect it to continue, nothing successfully passed in Virginia. Another issue that saw a lot of activity this year is regulatory reform. We saw everything from an attempt to create a red tape reduction commission to assigning sunset dates to regulations. While those issues didn't make it past the process, a few things did. One of the things that looks like it's going to proceed is creating some additional supervision of regulatory boards by the state, as well as a requirement to involve stakeholders in the economic impact analysis done on all new regulations. Lastly, we wanted to make sure that you were aware of a reporting requirement regarding data breaches. As originally introduced, this would have required employers and payroll companies to report data breaches directly to the tax department. The final version of the bill ultimately just amended existing statute that already requires those types of breaches to be reported to the Attorney General's office, and simply requires that the Attorney General will report such breaches to the tax department. The reason for this legislation is to help combat fraud and identity theft. However, I also wanted to mention that there's a specific exclusion in the reporting requirement that does not require companies to report when it's their customer data that has been breached. That wraps up our major issues for the 2017 legislative session. Thank you again to all the members who participated in CPA Assembly Day or took advantage of using our online advocacy tool this year.